Blog Talk Radio.
Good morning. It's Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. It is Monday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, and that translates into no BS job search advice. I've done professional recruiting for over 40 years now, and I must tell you that most job hunters make some tragic mistakes that are very costly to them. Frankly, the performance that many of you offer as part of your job search just isn't great. And I'm going to get to that a little bit later in the show and talking with you about stepping up to the plate a lot more. Now, today's show is brought to you by consultingassignments.com. Consultingassignments.com is a website where if you're looking for a consulting assignment, a contract, a full-time consulting position, contract to hire, temp assignment, temp to perm, this is a site where you can find these jobs. In addition, if you're a firm trying to fill a role like that, you can post your assignment, you can post your full-time consulting job absolutely free. There is no cost whatsoever for using the service. Now, if you want to feature your job, your resume, there's a modest fee for it, $10. But frankly, you can post absolutely free all your assignments, all your full-time consulting jobs, temp to perm, contract assignments, or contract to perm, I should say. So that's consultingassignments.com. Why don't you check out the site and upload a resume today? Now, the first part of this show, working with the Valentine's Day theme coming up, is entitled Finding a Job You'll Love. 5 things to do to avoid employment divorce. Because, frankly, people make a lot of mistakes when they go job hunting. And there are things that people need to do in order to avoid mistakes as part of their selection process. So the first mistake is not paying attention to whether or not you get that certain feeling. You know how it is when you're dating someone and you're excited? Well, do you have any sort of excitement about this job? Now, I know that's a lot harder as you become more senior because, frankly, you feel like you've seen everything, you've done everything. There's very little that turns you on. That's probably true as an older person dating, too. But I must tell you, if you don't have any sort of excitement about job hunting or about the job that you're interviewing for, after 2 or 3 conversations with them, why is taking it? As B.B. King says, the thrill is gone. Well, it's probably time to move on until you get that excitement. The second thing you need to do in order to find the job that you'll love is ask for some advice. What do your friends say about this role? What do your trusted advisors say when you talk with them about this opportunity? Again, the older we are, the more likely we are to make decisions without asking anyone for advice. And personally, I think that's a mistake because there are things that we don't see or pay attention to that, if we just took the time to ask some questions, we could have someone support us with. So take a little bit of time. Figure out, from them the things that you're missing. Part of becoming wise with age is knowing what you don't know and finding venues for you to be supported and get that information. So find out what your friends think about the role. Third way to find love and avoid employment divorce is asking great questions. Now, I've been married more than once, and I joke about how my current wife, Sharon, is a keeper. And that over the course of time, I learned to ask better questions. But, frankly, a lot of people don't bother asking great questions. They ask pretty standard stuff. Tell me about the job. What will I be doing 2 years from now? What are my advancement possibilities? And there's a level of sophistication in those questions that just isn't there. Excuse me. The employer can stay on their script, and it's these are very safe questions, and not really the best ones to ask. Now, I have something that you can either order for your Kindle or Nook or as a PDF, or you can just read it online at my website, jeffaltman.com, that has a whole series of great questions that you could ask. And I'm not suggesting that you ask all of them, but ask a couple of them that are important to you. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by the level of sophistication that you'll be seen at as a result of asking these questions. As the title of this short report says, they want honest answers from you. Well, why don't you ask them tough questions so you can get answers from them? So networking to find the job, but I'm talking about networking in order to connect with people who might know people at your employer who can give you some input. Years ago, a dear friend of mine asked for some advice about a firm he was interviewing with that I never heard of before. So we went on Google, found a resume of someone who had worked there, and I gave him the name and phone number of that person, and I said, call him. And I'm not suggesting that you represent yourself as an employer, but just simply say, hi, I'm interviewing with your old firm. What were your impressions of working there? Did you know so-and-so who I'm interviewing with? What were they like? Get out there and talk with folks. It's not just simply about maneuvering your way into finding your next job, but it's also making sure that next job is a good next job. So, again, don't make mistakes. Get yourself out there and talk with folks. Lastly, and this is to me one of the big similarities between dating and interviewing. And this is a hard one for people to hear because they're often coached to say and do something very different, and that is be honest. In dating, one of the dilemmas that people have is one day waking up and finding out that they're in love. And if you've been lying to the person you're dating with, or shall we say exaggerating with that individual, what you wind up in a bind with is, has the person fallen in love with you too based upon the reality based upon the fiction? And you don't wind up knowing whether their love for you is based upon truth or something bogus. So you're better off being honest, because then when you receive the offer, and I'm not talking about dating here, I'm talking about job search, of course. When you get the offer to join the firm, it's based upon the truth. It's based upon what you can do and what you can deliver for an organization, and not some lie that you've been telling all along. So, dishonesty in dating leads to conflict. Dishonesty while interviewing does too, and disappointment sets in. So you're always just a lot better off being truthful. So those are my 5 ways to avoid employment divorce. I want to talk with you about one other thing before I get to a few of the jobs I'm recruiting for. And that is, one of the things I've noticed over the course of my career in recruiting is that most job hunters, most employees are committed to mediocrity. Now, I'm going to pause on that and repeat it just one time and simply say most job hunters, most employees are committed to mediocrity. By that I mean, very simply, most employees that I run into are not committed to doing their best work. They're not committing to giving a darn about putting on a good performance for their boss. They're not really trying all that hard. They go through the motions and do their job and go home and go to the next day. Now, one of the things that I've had a beef about for the longest time is the amount of time people waste with social networking sites. And again, don't get me wrong, I use them to market because that's where people are, but how much of your day are you wasting on social networking that's nothing more than talking about how wonderful you are and the kind of things that you say that basically say, look at me, I want attention. Who cares if you're wasting time playing a game? Why are you inviting me to play Texas Hold'em and get caught up in your crap? So I just want to remind you that you could be a lot further along in your career if you put as much effort into your work as you do into Mafia Wars or Farmville. You'd be a lot further along in your career if you were out there really hustling to meet people to sell the next product or service that you're promoting. You could be doing a lot better financially if you put in a lot more effort day to day. And you can't blame anyone else other than yourself for that. You can't say, well, my boss this or my boss that or my manager this or that. Who cares? It's up to you. And if you don't like the work that you're doing, if you don't like the people that you're working for, if you think your time is being wasted, well, change jobs. Despite what you may be reading in the media, there are a lot of jobs out there. Firms are hiring again. Now, there's competition for all these jobs, and that's true globally. But there's also firms that are hiring. Get out there. There is no reason to succumb to mediocrity when all you have to do is put in some effort. And maybe that's the issue. You've gotten lazy. It's like trying to get back into the gym after years away. At the beginning, you have no capacity for any of the machines, and if you had a jog, man, that's tough. I know from experience. I was out of the gym for a while. And after an injury, even though I'd gotten back to jogging pretty well, after an injury, it was tough getting any sort of mileage again. But you can be changing your life and changing your mental attitude if you just push yourself a little bit. So, like losing weight, like improving your life in some ways, it's important to make this kind of a change so you can get the life that you really want and not just spend time whining and complaining. Now, I don't have a lot of time left today, but I do want to talk with you about a few of the new jobs I'm recruiting for. I'm going to tell you also that there are many more that I added in on Friday at my website, jeffaltman.com. Go to the site, search the listings there. There's a lot of positions that are available. Now, many of the jobs I added on Friday were for Wall Street operations professionals or banking operations professionals. I may mention one or two of them today. Many of the job listings overall are for technology people all over the country. Go exploring. And the first job I'll just briefly mention is for a senior Python developer in New York, going to about 150. They're looking for very technical developers to develop in Python and C++. They want someone who'd be interested in working for a financial firm. Ultimately, this is working on risk systems for them. So they want people with a breadth of language experience, C++, C, Python, Ruby and such, going to about 150. I apologize. I'm just going to have to send you to the website today for the job listings, and I'll just say there are ways that you can apply for the jobs on the site. So come over to jeffaltman.com. Go exploring it. There's a lot of good information for job hunters that I think will be helpful. Places to post your resume, articles that I've written for No BS Job Search Advice Easy, and as a matter of fact, sign up for a complimentary subscription while there. There are audios from previous podcasts for this radio show. A lot of good information that I think will help you with your job search. So I'll be back soon with more No BS Job. This is Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. Hope you have a great week. Have a great day.